A couple of hours ago, there was a school shooting at Maryland High School, which resulted in the death of the perpetrator and the hospitalization of a male and female. As of the time of this stream, the perpetrator's name is still not known, but it is known that the individual who committed the act was killed during an encounter with officers who were responding to the shooting. Um, the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, I always forget his name, put out a statement in which he described himself and his family as praying for the victims, but at the end of his statement said that there was not enough to be done with prayer, that there should be some type of action, which I liked. Let me respond to these comments. Reluctant Dragon, I haven't been in the loop. There's another shooting just hours ago, in Maryland. And Envoy is saying hello. He's here early. I wasn't expecting to do anything at this point today, but some of those little events that just catches you off guard, but you've become so used to it that it's not the decentivizing or desensitizing has already taken effect. So thanks to that, I'm not as shocked. Um, because I remember correctly, there was that statistic about we had one school shooting for every other day of the year back in February. And even though that's not the same now, it still rings true that there's been too many of these things. Okay, Envoy says this is absolutely ridiculous. Thoughts and prayers aren't going to do anything. Action needs to be taken. And that's what the governor said. Um, okay, Reluctant Dragon says this is ridiculous. Back to freaking back. Yeah, we have a mass shooting in the U.S. every day, where three people are killed. And I think we've actually, if you guys remember this statistic, every 3 months, when it comes to shooting victims, that number matches the number of casualties in the 9/11 attack. Okay, what would be your solution? Um, if the problem with arguing for gun control is that someone will always say you're politicizing the event. What they should do as a precaution, in my view, would be to have it to where most of these schools have some kind of way that you can detect or find out who is carrying a concealed weapon. They can talk about that being a violation of privacy, but if you're going on a public venue, I think we do have a right to know who has what deadly weapon and who doesn't. Now, if you're in the comfort of your own home, you can do whatever you want. You can fire that thing into the wall a million times, but they should put up some kind of detector for people to walk through and then confirm that they have a weapon. Obviously, have some members of law enforcement there. These are all things that I think we're sorely lacking in most of these other shootings that we've seen at these institutions. Um, and I don't think that's a view that's really that insane because more often than not, I have people who are identifying themselves as conservatives that will agree with the idea of, hey, the supposed good guy with a gun saves people from the bad guy with one, but yet we're still not implementing that. Okay, Envoy says, I agree. Some people argue teachers should be armed, which I disagree. There needs to be some sort of metal detector. Um, Arming the teachers was an idea that it's so unorthodox and ridiculous. It's one of those things where people think when they do something that's not in the norm, it's good because it's not in the norm. Not it's not good, and it's not good for it not to be in the norm because it's not practical. Um, you have these people that go to these schools. They get these degrees to become educators, and because there is a percentage of students who rebel and decide to fire upon their classmates and everyone around them, they're now going to try to get a license to carry a concealed weapon. I don't understand. That initiative just seems too far-reaching and grandiose to adequately combat this issue. Okay, Reluctant Dragon says, when I was in high school, we had the Metropolitan Police searching our book bags, and we had metal detectors. Every morning. So, now that we know about Reluctant Dragon's education years, if you can call it that. I don't know what you would say, your formative years. I don't know how old that how old you were at that point, but now we know about about your high school. We can implement that where they're going to people's backpacks. I can recall that at my one of my institutions as well, that they would go and check out who has what, but that was usually only after they had been tipped off to someone having something on them, which more often than not turned out to be a joke or a hoax. You have people that call in and prank them and say, "Oh yeah, this person has a, a little bag of weed or something," and they would go and believe it, which are not necessarily wrong to do so, but it just shows you how concerned and worried they were. That is very off topic, Envoy. Opinion of modern day. Uh, I, I'd have to formulate the way any video is done is I'll usually have something to say before starting it. So even if it's off top or not um, scripted, it still has its basic points that I want to make. So I'd have to go and look up a couple of things and just see what way I'd want to speak about that and what my argument would be. So um, the we're gonna get more reports as the day passes, as the days go by, obviously. And when that comes, I'll probably speak about this again. But just I can't take these things with as much seriousness. Yeah, it sucks that people were murdered, or rather that people were injured. At least this didn't result in any casualties besides the perpetrator. But we've gotten to a point now where it's so common you don't think of it as being a major event. You go back to um, Columbine the um, or the Charles Whitman thing incident back in '64. Those were things that stuck out because they were not of their kind. They were unorthodox. They were these bizarre massacres that truly differed from the typical crime of that period. Now it's just every 48 hours or 24 hours we're getting one of these. So I can't take it as being anything more than what it is, a sad event that has become the norm. It actually has gotten to the point that when I speak about it, I kind of feel as if you could take much of what I'm saying and just chop it out and put another title of a different shooting's name on it, and you get the same thing. This last 2 or 3 minutes was all just me speaking very generally about this event. So I'm gonna get off of here. I'll have something else out either today or tomorrow, probably today. We'll see what happens. And Envoy says the numbness and desensitized nature of individuals is what's truly sad here. Yeah, but we're made to be that way because we just keep seeing it. We've been seeing it for years now. We don't um, take it seriously because society doesn't take it seriously. Because if they did, they would vote out um, these people that are allowed to keep things the way they are on the state and federal level.